After logging in to the admin area of the site, we're going to add a trip. To do so, we'll go to Components, Trips. Then in the Trips Manager, we will click on New. The first thing we'll add is the title. And so in our trip here, we'll name this one Iceland. And we'll select a category. We have some default categories set. We can also add more. For now, we'll call this one an excursion. And if we want to make someone responsible for the trip as a trip manager, we can click here to select users who have been added for that purpose. If there is a specific destination within our trip, such as a city in that country, we could list that here. I'm going to simply list Iceland again. Here we set whether this trip is going to be international, domestic, or local. What's most critical to know is if we choose international, it will trigger the requirement for a passport. So we'll go ahead and turn that on. And now we have to set our start date for our trip. We'll make this be December 9th as our start and December 16th as our end. And now we have to add our base price. And so in this case, this will be our base price, our single supplement. And the amount required for deposit. And here we set the maximum number of travelers allowed on this trip. And then we set our booking deadline. And then our balance deadline. So this is the date at which whatever remains from the deposit that's made. This is our deposit here. So this is when the balance of that payment is due. And so I'm going to set this in our fictitious trip as being the 18th. Of course, that's entirely up to who's running the trip. And if there's a flight involved and the flight cost has been determined, we can enter it here. The promo image is used to add an image to the top of the trip booking area when a customer is booking the trip. So let's click select and we'll choose an image which is quite notable because it'll be moving. We have this one, the boat. We'll insert that. If we go over the eye icon, we can see what the image is. And when we look at the result of this image being used in the front end of the site, we will see that the booking now has a lively piece of imagery that can inspire someone to further the process of booking. And we can also make a short description of our trip. So I'll just drop some text in here. As we scroll down, we find there's a lot more information that we can enter. And so if we have anything that's specifically about our accommodations, we can enter it here. Whatever are the inclusions can be entered, exclusions, pricing information, info to know. I'm actually going to paste some information in, and you may or may not like that formatting. If you don't like the formatting, I recommend you open Notepad and paste your information into Notepad to strip the formatting away, and then you copy it from Notepad and paste it into here. So next we have insurance. We have some standard copy that we'll be pasting into here. And all of these areas that we're going through will be displayed as tabs in the public display of the trip. Extra info refers to information which will be displayed on the side of the trip. I'm going to go back to paste some information in the pricing tab and the accommodations tab as well. So this is all the information we're going to put into the tabs for now. And if we scroll back up, we see that there are other groups of tabs that we can enter information for. However, what we need to do right now is we need to actually save. Because if we did not save and then we try to move on to the other tabs, we would actually be notified that we have to save. If we come back to our first tab, Trip Details, and we see our start and end date, there's a math calculation that occurs in the system to determine how many days of itinerary we need. So you need to save the information in this tab, which then uses the start and end dates to generate the number of areas in our trip itinerary. So now we see we have enough itinerary containers for our trip. And I'm just going to copy some itinerary information from a trip with enough information to fill this out. So I'll copy some day 1 information and paste in here. And we can also actually title this specifically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this information out of here and delete that space. I'm going to paste that in the day title. Now I'll do the same for the next few. Now I'll stop at this third one so we can move on. So we save. We move on to trip images. And so these images that we're about to add to the trip will work as a slideshow for people looking at the trip to get a sense of what the trip's about visually. We're going to click Upload Images, and we're going to choose all of these images for our trip. We can title each image, which is basically giving them a caption. And we can then save this. Next, we go to our trip map, and what we're doing here is we're simply adding the latitude and longitude values. Be sure to set enable map to yes, otherwise nothing will likely be displayed. But we come down here and put our lat long. And we have to set longitude with a minus. And if we want additional information to be with the map, we'll just go ahead and title this Iceland. We can have text with images, with whatever we want to also be along with the map. I'm leaving that blank for now, as I have nothing to add. And we'll save this and we'll look at the last tab just to take a look. What this is we can also rename the tabs on the front view of the trip, but we'll leave them as they are for now. And now we will save and close. And here's our new trip, Iceland. It's international, the category is excursion, and this is the trip dates.